Here we go. Welcome to episode 3 of the OG. This is Jerm. It's Gom. What's going on, buddy?
Here we are. Not a lot. We're just about to head into the playoffs. It's exciting. We're both in, shockingly.
We're both in. Yeah, we're both sitting here watching the what is pretty much a play-in game for the Bucks. If they win, they're in. If they lose, Lions are in. And it's also a big game for Jerm Vegas.
It is.
Because if as Derek Brown gets hurt.
Yeah. Pax and Brock are going to be watching this one with heightened interest.
Yeah. If what was the line on that? I can't remember the line. Was it 7.5? I don't remember. I just know that Brock has the Bucks.
So. And Pax has the tastes.
So, anyways, while we're watching this game, how do you feel about your team going to the playoffs, buddy?
I felt a lot better about them until I just played a Fetto.
Oh, you did. Did you play everybody, though? I didn't get to see the game. Did you have your starters in?
I took out Grady Jarrett and
that's how the D lineman is always what scares me.
I took out
the ones always get hurt.
Yeah, that's why I did it. I took out my entire D line because I just they always get hurt in week 17 or 18, especially Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett is, whenever Tyrant had him, he would always get hurt in week 17 back when it was a 17-game season.
The guys are programmed that way.
Yeah, and I mean, in the end, like if you don't make the 1 seed in the AFC, it really doesn't matter a whole lot. You're going to have to play somebody hard. So I just let them sit, and I still, I mean, I think Fetto still would beat me just because he's just such a good player.
Yeah,
and he was able to get a few plays on me. I wasn't able to figure him out in time, and so it's funny because last season I was really looking forward to hoping I would be able to match up against him at playoffs, because historically I'd always played him well, but he's adapted his defense a lot better. That it kind of made things difficult. So still feeling good, I'm up against Gorilla and I played him well, but he's also beaten me a few times too. So it'll be a challenge. How are you feeling about your matchup? I believe you are facing Mr. V-Bank.
Yeah, I think I'm facing V-Bank as long as Madden doesn't screw anything up. I don't know. I just haven't felt good about my team for a while now. Or not my team, myself. Like, my team is fine. I love my team. Like, week 17, I played Trigger, who is 0-16, or who was 0-16 at the time. And I had, I think, less than 100 total yards against him. I didn't score a touchdown.
Yep.
My touchdowns were defensive touchdowns. So week 18, I was like, I'm not benching anybody. I got to play everybody. I got to find a rhythm somehow. And it was Smithy. Smithy always gets you back on track. But I don't know. I feel okay. Oh my God. Taste just had B wide open down the sideline and didn't even see him. Oh, he didn't even cover him.
Well, those outside streaks, unless it's a cover 2, you really never expect it to be.
Yeah, that's what it was, cover 2. And I guess, I don't know if he was using the safety or what, but there was nobody near him.
Oh, man. A comeback, it worked.
You must be ahead
just
of me.
threw a comeback round.
You ahead of me? You are ahead.
Maybe I am.
Oh, that shouldn't have worked, though. That should have been a
I know it shouldn't have worked.
That was a terrible decision.
This is because this is a taste, or no, this isn't a taste stream. This is it is a taste stream. Hey, Taste is streaming. Good job,
Taste. That's what I was trying to figure out. Why does he have the Synax logo on there?
I'm just impressed that he's streaming. He's been recording for a while because his internet hasn't been good. So welcome back to Twitch, Taste, and we hope that you stick around on this one. But this is probably a Canadian stream from a Canadian player, which is probably why I can see it a little quicker than you can. I'm gonna guess.
Maybe.
But I don't know. Your team, like, I expected more from you because you have George Kittle for the first time ever. But I also anticipated the whole George Kittle addiction maybe like kind of throws you off your game a little bit, because George Kittle's out there and out route is going to be a catch every time, like it was back in 2019 and 2020. And I know you still throw to him on those a lot, and they don't work out quite as much as you remember. But
I still had a ton of yards. The crazy thing is, this was my So I threw more interceptions than I ever have. I also threw for more yards than I ever have.
So I think it's the first time you've thrown for more interceptions than touchdowns, or
It
did you
is
actually
in
get back?
22. No, I did not.
No.
In 22 seasons, I think I ended up with like 24 or 25 passing touchdowns and 31 interceptions. I've
Oh,
never had that bad of a season. I don't
ouch.
think I've ever
Yeah.
thrown more than like 22, 23 interceptions. Maybe I have,
So,
but
so how many of those interceptions were throws to Kittle? Would you think?
no, dude, you've seen Baker this season. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if he's programmed to suck or what, but I he's made some unbelievably horrible throws. I mean, you caught a few of them.
I did. I guess we at some point maybe we can talk about the bubble screen that play because did we have a OG since that play? I don't
No,
remember if we
I
did
don't
or
think
not,
we
but
did. And then you got
um,
Gorilla on it.
yeah. Well, that one at least you liked a little bit better, but
Yeah,
because it wasn't quite as bad. But it's interesting because like you've kind of gone on this little uh roller coaster because
it has been a roller coaster.
you were on one league and then you were like not getting enough game time in to stay fresh, so you joined another league and then that helped you because you were able to get a little bit more gaming in. But now it's kind of like doing the opposite for you because you got two different teams, two different play styles, and it's throwing you off a little bit
Yeah,
either.
I'm terrible. I'm worse over there.
Yeah.
But it's because the team that I took over was a 4-3 team, and I haven't been playing a 3-4, and everybody's out of
Yep.
position. I got free agents just to make it work. It's bad, but
Yeah. That was the main reason I always struggled with two leagues, was just unless the teams were almost identical, it would just my instincts. You just wouldn't have that instinct to know what play you wanted to do because your brain is like divided
yeah,
on knowing that you want to do something in that your other team would be good at, but can't be done on this one. So either way, we can't really complain too much. We both made the playoffs, and
we are both in. That's all you gotta do is get in. Get in and
anything
hope
can
somebody
happen.
else beats Pax and Feta. That's the
We'll have
plan.
to hope. Last season, we remember that the wild card underdogs won, I think, all three games. I think
Oh,
maybe one didn't, but I was an
it was
underdog,
all
and
the road teams, right?
yep, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because Feno dropped and
I dropped.
you dropped,
No,
or did you win the first one?
I won. I won the wild
Oh
card
no,
last
didn't
year.
you have the bye?
No, I beat Johnny in the wild card.
Who had the bye last year? Was it a Feno?
Yes, the Federer had the bye last year. I beat Johnny in the
Right,
wild card, then I lost to you in the second round.
right, right. Because yeah, then me and Tyrant somehow made it to the AFCC, even though we were like fourth and I don't even remember what seed I was, if I was sixth or seventh. Anyway, lots of underdogs in the AFC, so we can have it happen again.
Yep.
Except I'm third seed, so I don't really want that. At least not right away.
I'm good with road teams winning the first round.
Yeah. And there's a bubble screen for a touchdown from Taste. Good old bubble
Oh my
screen.
god! If I ever throw another one, I swear to God, it was so open. Like
I
everybody would have thrown it. Everybody would have thrown it.
know.
Oh
Even Gorillas was open. Like those were both throws
yeah, it
I
was
would have
open.
done too.
Throw right
Like,
to him. Dear God.
oh, pick artist, you are such a nemesis.
All right, so this episode we're really just going off the cuff and really didn't
Yeah,
have
we'll
much of
have
a game plan. That's why I sent out the question thing like an hour ago.
Yeah, we'll have one a little bit like later on about the top 100 stuff. We just haven't quite got that tabulated to the point where we want to discuss it yet, but it'll come. So
Yeah, that should be later in the week. I was waiting on the finals. All I have to do is update some of the stats on
yeah,
my thing, and I was waiting on these last few games to be played. So that'll come out probably Wednesday or Thursday or something.
yep.
But anyways, let's talk about a little in season review here. What team do you think was the biggest surprise to you? And we'll
Well,
do a good surprise because we'll have a
yeah,
yeah, was
yeah, we'll do good
in a good way,
surprise.
most surprising team.
I mean, to me, it's the Chiefs, but I mean, like he was a wild card just because we didn't know what V Bank was. Like he
Right.
came into the league, he didn't necessarily like blow everyone out right away, but he still played well. But I don't know if I expected that he'd actually like fly it all the way into the playoffs. And well done. He's another one from the tyrant slash gorilla Guitar Hero mold. I remember that the game that he won where he just beat Johnny. I know he gooned him for a couple fumble recoveries. So that's going to be the AFC playoffs this year, is because you got Gorilla and Tyrant and VBank in all 3 wild cards. So if you want to see hit sticks, round 1 is going to be fun.
Are you saying I should go conservative carry?
I should go. Everyone should go conservative carry. I probably won't because I'll forget to do it because
you'll forget until you give up that fumble return for a touchdown. You're like, shit.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, oh right, I was gonna go conservative carry. Although against Gorilla, it's something I somewhat remember. Although I don't think I did it when I played him last time either. So, but Gorilla might be a little more cautious because I think I learned to, as soon as they make catch, to either run away from anyone he's controlling or could control, or do a quick spin just to. And I think that got me a touchdown last game. So if Gorilla, if you're watching, don't hit stick. It'll happen again. Who's your surprise?
Well, that's the easy one, I think.
That's why I get to go first, so I can take the easy one.
Right. I mean, that was definitely the easy one. And the crazy thing about the AFC, so the AFC West is my favorite division. We've had 3 seasons and now 3 different division winners.
Well,
it's the most competitive division. Like they're 10-7, 9-8, 8-9, 8-9, and Koopa has missed the playoffs by one game, and then I guess this year would be 2 games.
Yeah. Well, and if you remember when we talked about one of the few things I remember from our previous episodes was that we didn't think that the AFC would have any changes really, and I think we just kind of picked one just for the sake of picking one because we didn't think there'd be any changes, but we had changes.
Yeah, 2 of them. So Johnny was out and Mustang.
Johnny and Mustang, my Super Bowl pick.
Mustang. Ever since you completely cursed Mustang.
I really, really did. I'm sorry, Mustang. I should have picked a Fedor Pax as my Super Bowl pick.
Destroyed him.
But unfortunately, I didn't, and this is the result. So sorry about that.
Completely folded. So let me see here.
Who's your surprise?
Well, I guess it's another easy one in the NFC, and that's Jake. Because we didn't really know. He's the same thing as VBank. We had no idea what to expect. We both thought he'd be good just based on what other people had said. I know Pink had said he was pretty good in another league. But I mean, he had some really big wins where he beat the brakes off of a couple of good teams.
Yeah, I played him, and it was like basically he matched me like score for score the entire way, and my team's vastly superior to his as far as on-field talent. So.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if he pulls off an upset or 2 in the NFC.
Oh no! If he's able to like have a good offseason and make a few moves, he'd definitely like get into like the top of there. Like he could even challenge Soup I could see him challenging Soup for the division.
Yeah, well, I mean, I made it one of the I think a boost or game of the week or something when he played Soup, and I called it the passing of the torch or something like that.
Yep, and I remember. So
all right, so who is your most disappointing team?
Well, I'm not gonna crap on Mustang anymore because
it's your fault.
Yeah, I feel a little responsible for that one. And I mean, in some ways, I want to say Maloney, but I mean, there's a couple of reasons for the disappointment there.
We'll talk about Maloney here in a little bit. We should have thought. We should have led with that, honestly.
We really should have.
We'll get into that in a minute.
So yeah, we'll just skip Maloney right now because honestly, that game is probably one of the most disappointing things. Not even for the reasons that you think, but we'll get to that later. I don't know. I almost want to say try, like just because he had, and I think he's disappointing for just because we hyped him up like crazy.
Yeah, him and Mustang.
and I mean, like, and I'm not going to say he's disappointing because he didn't do well. It's that he just had issues that came up that prevented him from getting some
Yeah,
games
I don't
in.
think he ever did play MHC. I think both of them were
No,
sim losses.
both of sim losses, and he had a few because he was not feeling well, whatever, and that cost him the playoffs. So that I think that's a big disappointment because I think he would have been a really good challenger in the playoffs.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm gonna go Flap. Love Flap, but 7-10 Flap. Come on, didn't he win the division last year?
Yeah, well, and the good news is that like even though he had a crap, he just had the worst start ever. Like I don't think he was prepared for life post Cooper.
No, that
Not
trade did not
having
work out for him.
No, that trade did not work out at all. He didn't. He
He
didn't
got going
realize
later in the season, but
he did, and
that was too
I told
far
him that.
gone.
I told him that you'll adapt your play style and figure out how to win on offense without having a stud receiver, and you'll figure your defense is not going to be really anything different with Aaron Donald, unfortunately, because of the game.
Yeah.
But once he adapted his offense, he started winning, and so I think he's probably going to have a good next year. Now that he's figured that
out. Coach of the year.
Coach of the year.
Do you go chalk here?
Chalk?
Chalk, as in what you expect. I mean, Pax did have an undefeated season.
Pax did have an undefeated season. You got to give him credit for that. There's very few people that have done it.
You can thank me for giving him the second place schedule.
Yes, the second place scheduled help, and obviously learning some defensive tricks from Affetto helped. But so yeah, I mean he's the easy candidate for coach of the year. Yeah, I don't know if you really could give it to anybody else. Nobody really stood out that I can see that like really massively overachieved from where they should have been. So yeah, I'd have to say Pax. Like he just figured out everything he needed to do and he did it. What about you?
Yeah, I think I agree. The only one I think that would like be a consideration would probably be VBank again, just because he was pretty far out at the beginning. He had those sim losses at the beginning where he was on vacation, and then for him to turn around his season and win the division is pretty clutch. So
yeah,
but it's an undefeated season, so
yeah,
gotta go back.
Gotta do it.
MVP.
Why don't you go first?
So I'm gonna go kind of different. So I used to do the season-ending awards, and I would send out a form or whatever, and I would not even include anybody that didn't make the playoffs. To win the MVP, you got to make the playoffs. Period. Madden doesn't recognize that common sense, but to me, that's just obvious. And I don't like giving it to running backs just because I don't know. You can stat bad running backs. I'm going to go a little bit different here. And I'm going to go Daniel Jones, my MVP. Threw for the most passing yards, threw 44 touchdowns. 26 picks is a lot of picks, but when you throw for 5,200 yards and 44 touchdowns, I mean, that's really good touchdown to reception ratio. And Pink's passing game's a pain in the ass. It is an absolute... So I had to play him like 3 times because my game kept... First time I let him reboot. Second time we disconnected somehow. So I ended up playing him like 7 quarters. And in the game that actually counted, he lost his best receiver and Saquon, and I still couldn't stop Evan Ingram.
Yep.
And I knew what was coming. Still couldn't stop him. Got the win, but I'm going to go Daniel Jones in the MVP. I'm going to go a little different here.
I'm going to go a little different too. And like you, I just don't want to go running back just because running backs already get so much love. It's just stupid. And really, like I think we've proven that like the guys who are doing well with running backs, you can give them another running back and they're going to do just as good. But the guy I think, and it's it's a controversial one, but I think it's Chris Godwin. Like just because he got Gorilla back into the playoffs. Like when you play Gorilla, you know that there's really not a lot of places that he's going to be able to go, and he's not throwing with a great quarterback either. Like he's got Jalen Hurts, who's only like he's got a noodle arm, and yet he's got the Slotomatic, which is why you can win with a noodle arm. And
Yeah.
you got to figure that everybody knows that Godwin's is where the ball is going if it's not going to the running back, but he still like dominated the league. Like he was only behind Ingram in receptions.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't like a red zone threat because he didn't need to be, but he was just, I don't know. I think that he was, if it wasn't for Chris Godwin, Gorilla doesn't make the playoffs. And I don't know if I could say that about any other player on a playoff team right now, except for maybe like you were saying, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, but I mean, Pink's a good passer, and Daniel Jones isn't like that great overall.
Yeah, so that's why I gotta say Godwin's MVP just for what he does. Got Gorilla into the playoffs, and so that to me is the most valuable. Is the most valuable.
I like that one a lot. So speaking of, since you brought up receiving yards, off topic. So our cooldown season. This is our first season finishing the cooldown.
Yep.
What do you think of? You think successful?
I think it's successful. And
I think a lot of people avoided the receiving yards because like our leading receiver had 1,700 yards. Usually we're up at least 2,000.
Yeah, I think it definitely played a factor because there was always one or two games and there was somebody would get like 250 to 300 yards. Like they were rare, but they would happen if you had a good player playing somebody who didn't know how to play defense, and they would just keep torching him with that receiver over and over and get up there. So I think that made a big difference. I love that. Like I almost hit it with Shorts a couple times just purely by accident.
Yeah, I almost hit it with Kittle by accident, and I almost had one with Nwangu with the 4 touchdowns. Is that what the cooldown is? 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost hit that as well.
Yeah,
which I would have. I mean, I was trying to play pretty natural.
Yep. So no, I do like it. I mean, I'm still 50-50 on the whole 4 touchdowns for a running back thing. I know we put that in, and I accepted it. I still don't necessarily know if I like it, just because.
Yeah. I was against it at first. I mean, you remember I was way against the 4 touchdowns at first, and then I kind of came around on it.
Yeah, I mean,
I still think 4 is good because I think 5's too many.
It's fine. 5 is too many. 4, like, and really, there's no reason that you have to get 4. Like, if you get 3 and you're at the 1 yard line, you're like, no, I'm at the 1 yard line. Obviously, I got to run the ball. You could probably punch it in with your backup running back. And you know what? If you really need to, that's the good thing about the cooldown is that there's no reason that you have to bench player. Take the cooldown,
right.
Unless you're determined to get a dev, and that's the only thing that matters to you. Take the cooldown. You'll have a game where you can bench them. We've seen it. People were accepting, fine, I'll bench him, and it's fine. So I like the way I like the system, and I think it prevented anything that helps like the weaker coaches not get completely taken advantage of by the stronger guys. I'm on board with.
Yeah, well, I mean, our leading receiver the last 2 years had over 2,100 yards and over 2,200 yards. Yeah. So this year, leading receivers at 1,700 yards. So I mean, I feel like that in itself, makes
who was
the league more realistic.
Who was that cheese ball?
I wouldn't go name names.
I don't think he ever even really had over a 250-yard game either. That was just a steady stream of 150s.
Yeah, I guess there was 2 receivers ended up with a cooldown. That was Andy Isabella for that crazy Bengals game, and Jeffrey Franklin had a 5-catch, 292 game.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Ingram never actually had a cooldown, given he had 130 catches. Because I mean, over 17 games, that's a pretty hefty average. You'd think there might have been one in there where he had 15, but of course we haven't done the audit yet. So so be prepared, people, because there's going to be an audit done. If you never reported it, you're not going to like the results if they find out that somebody had a cooldown. So.
Let's see here. How about Defensive Player of the Year?
Defensive player in the year.
Right,
I
right off
don't
the
know.
top of your head.
Well, the easy answer is always obviously Parsons, even though he didn't make the playoffs. But
Yeah, well, I mean, defensive player of the year is fine. I think it
yeah,
has to be Parsons, so we don't have to look at the other guys. He
no,
had 18 tackles. He's just insane. He had 18 tackles for loss,
yeah.
13 and a half sacks, and then 6 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 3 touchdowns. What do you do with that guy?
I don't know if anybody can pay attention to what you're saying right now, given what my cat's doing right here, but
Yeah, Cat's having a good time. Cat loves some Michael Parsons.
It's like Micah Parsons.
um,
uh,
I put on here most improved coach, and we're gonna go V-Bank again. Well, we didn't know what V-Bank had, so he can't be most improved.
yeah. I wouldn't say that he was necessarily improved because he wasn't here last year.
That's
Okay, so
most improved. Let's see. Again,
great,
we are off the cuff. I wrote down things before we started, and we never actually looked up anything.
and Germ at least had the foreknowledge of knowing what these things he wrote down were. Some of these things I'm just like learning for the first time. So, most improved. Gosh, that's a great question. I mean,
Well, I mean, you got Dog battling for a playoff spot here. He's always been like a 5 to 8 win team.
Well, and it would have been a Rackra too, except he kind of like he had such a good start. Like he was staying in pace with the entire for the division for
he was
first half. Like he was just playing so well, and then he just tailed off. And unfortunately, because he's in the AFC, you get around 8-9 wins, and you're screwed. So because even Johnny had 9 wins and didn't make it. So I'd like to say him. Grill obviously improved.
Yeah.
But other than well, and then of course McGee.
McGee. He was
some credit. I got to give him one of my most improved because he was competitive the whole way. He's
not gonna have a top 3 pick.
Nope. So I thought McGee played really smart this year, and his schedule. Everyone's schedule is going to be rough to some extent, especially Germs, but
mine sucked. Yeah, I think I'll go with you on that.
Yeah,
I'm good with McGee.
So 14-10 for Tampa right now.
So I'm not going to ask you to remember all these games we've watched this season. So what was like your favorite game that you were in? What was your favorite game of the whole season? And I think we even talked about this. I may have even asked you this last time we did.
Well, my favorite game was probably, honestly, it was the game that you and I had. Our game this year. That ended up being the most fun game. Obviously, like the first 70, like the first 3.5 quarters were probably the most fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that was just like an extreme chess match where we were just going back and forth. Nobody was taking the lead, just everything. And then, and then it came, and then the game ended up with a memory that neither of us will forget. So you can't not love memories, right? Like memories. Even
it was
if there
definitely
are bad
memorable.
things happening, there's something that are irreplaceable. And so that
definitely memorable.
The Denzel Ward bubble screen where whoever, I forget who your receiver was, it was just like, no, it's coming, it's still coming, the ball's coming to me, it really is.
It was going to Waddle.
And Waddle was just like, no, I'm here, Baker, I'm over here. So, and
terrible.
That was great.
Yeah, that was the oh god.
Yep.
We gotta have a fair sim to get into the playoffs.
Oh, it's gone. Crunch.
Oh my god. Tace is not gonna restart. Because it's 11:45.
Yep.
Oh god.
Well, and the funny thing about that was, so I'm sure anyone who doesn't know is the Bucks and Panthers game just crashed in the third quarter with only like a 4-point differential.
Yeah, it's definitely not force win territory.
Well, the funny thing was, it would have been a force win, except except they waited to play it, and now like
Oh, Tace is typing. This is gonna be bad. Big Brother's gonna make him miss work tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna push advance back a whole day and ruin our forever calendar that went in.
I mean, I'm glad I didn't schedule my game tonight.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I'm most thankful that Pax is on a bye this week because he always schedules for 10 o'clock on advance night.
Yep, I know. We got to drag this out and get Pax nice and rusty.
Oh, all right. So my favorite game, it was the Affetto game just because I finally beat him.
Yeah.
I will agree that our game was the most memorable, and it was the most fun to play in up until I got effed so bad. Like that game could have been one of our great games ever.
Oh, I know,
because it was back and forth.
If you'd scored there, then I've got like
if I scored there, which I would have scored at least a field goal.
Oh, I mean, like if the throw was where
if the throw was where it should have been, it's touchdown. Oh my God, they said fair sim.
It is a fair sim.
Fair sim for the playoffs. You got to be kidding me. Are you on?
No. Well,
you could make sure you set, or make sure that Sinex's game is set.
Oh God.
MHC might be on that. I'm sure he was watching that.
Oh, I'm sure he is. Yeah, MHC will do it. I'll give him 5 minutes. They should interrupt our OG. And Tyrant's lit up all green too. So
yeah, let the red do it. Yellows are busy.
Yeah,
yellows are busy carrying the league's content.
Exactly. While the Reds do nothing except make a fantasy league and then leave it for the end of the year.
Or have a playoff pick'em thing and then abandon it, or eliminator and abandon it. Anyways,
poor eliminator. We hardly knew you.
We hardly knew you. We didn't know you. Oh, all right. Okay, here's a fun one. Who is your Brock Bro of the year?
Brock Bro of the year, V-Bank. This is the V-Bank one. You got to give it to V-Bank.
Oh, it is.
He came out of nowhere. Try could have been it if he'd not let himself get the Sims. The other ones, obviously Trigger had his issues with scheduling, but he's managed to stick around.
Look, I don't know how this dude is 0-17. I don't know if he's not trying over here or what. He beat me in the other league just the other night. And then the game I've played him twice this season. It's the only 2 times I've ever played him in this league. The first game, I think I beat him it was 20-0 or something like that. But he held, I couldn't do anything on offense. And then I beat him again the other night, and I had 50 passing yards. Baker was 8 for 25 for 50 yards and 3 picks. Yep. I won because I had 2 defensive touchdowns. I don't know how he's not just winning at least 6 or 7 games with his defense. Or maybe I just play bad against him. I don't know.
Maybe it's just not, I'm not going to say not tanking, but it's just if his team isn't where he wants it right now, you do some experimenting. So
yeah,
maybe you never know what's going to happen. But I don't see how you could give to anyone.
He definitely has a lack of. He has Morales, but he definitely has a lack of weapons. Oh, yeah. Morales isn't built yet.
No. V-Bank, your Brock Bro, or do you got a different Brock Bro?
Oh, did I not do it?
Well,
sorry, I got sidetracked on Trigger, and I was watching V-Bank type WTF in chat. Anyways, yeah, it has to be V-Bank. Brock can't get it just because he won the championship last year, and
unless you go undefeated right after you get the championship.
He went through the motions, and he's just a 2 seed this year. So. Brock Bro of the year, V-Bank. Although I will say, and just to throw a little more, Joe Daddy won some games this year. How many wins he end up with? He started 0 and what did he finish with?
I don't know. With that
he finished with 5 wins. Yeah.
Yeah, with that Texas team, it's more than I expected. That's for sure.
And I swear he was 0 and well, he beat the Titans. I don't know. He played really good here. There was a stretch where he did much better.
Well, yeah, that kind of makes me think if we're talking about probably biggest disappointment of the year, I almost got to say Skittle, because we were we had really high hopes for Skittle, but
The most disappointing thing is I don't even know if he's streaming anymore. Like I haven't seen his stream in forever.
He is, but he doesn't post the stream in the message just because I think he moves straight from whatever else he's doing because he's got other games that he's playing right now.
Yeah.
Which are the thing. And so then when you've got a game, it's just move over from that stream straight to that. So I don't think he actually goes into Discord very much to post anymore. So he still does his streaming. He's still doing it, just doesn't post it. But obviously Skittle not being nearly as invested in it has made him suffer a little bit. So too bad, because Skittles is one of the best players to watch stream. Like just
when Skittles is like in the playoffs, it's so fun.
So good.
When he's rolling, it's so good. Run, little man, run.
Yeah.
So this is a fun one I used to do all the time in my end of the season awards, and it used to be the Noah Fan Award for MHC. The Dev Whore of the Year. I guess since the cooldown, there isn't really anybody that really stands out. I guess Hines, but didn't Hines get an upgrade already this year?
He did.
So I don't think he can go up.
He can't. So I was shocked that MHC didn't bench him for that last. I mean, I guess he was going for the awards to hopefully get him some XP. But man, like what a risk putting Hines in for a week 18 games win. It's not going to do anything for you.
Well, I guess Clifford Franklin's still star. So Clifford Franklin's my Dev Whore of the Year.
Well, it's funny too, because if you look at him, frankly, he didn't even have hardly very many catches at all. Like, that's even though they're
always 30.
I know it's all bombs, catches. Like, but it's just funny because I mean, because he's got so few catches, I don't even know if he will qualify, even with the amount of yards that he got.
Oh, yeah. He'll be in the race.
Like he might, but I mean, will he get top 6 for sure? Like, because I think he's got like half of the receptions.
Well, that's just for X Factor, right? How many?
What's that?
I can't remember how many did we. How many are in the draw? Do you remember? Off the top of your head?
I think I just had that right here.
I guess he did only have 12 touchdowns, but I mean, we're making it like fantasy points base, right? So 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns.
There is 2 X Factors and 4 superstars for receiver. But of
but how many are in the running?
The top 8 get in the running for X Factor. So you're
probably you need a superstar.
Yeah, but I mean, but the superstar is below that. You only get 1 ball compared to 3 balls you get for everybody else. So not that it matters. Like last year, 2 guys with 1 ended up winning, which was Chark and Isabella. But
I can't give it to you because Schwartz gets it every freaking year. He gets
well,
he gets first, second most yards.
And you can feel somewhat good about not giving me the Dev Whore because I clearly spread the love like I knew I would. Like, because I think Mecole Hardman got more catches than Schwartz did, if I remember.
I don't know.
Well, I guess you're not on there to check. Let's see. Yeah, so Schwartz had 76 catches. Hardman had 87. So
interesting.
Yeah. Schwartz got more touchdowns just because he's, faster. But
Mims 21 touchdowns.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to give it to Mims again. Although I don't think he was the Dev Whore of the Year. I think he was.
Has to be somebody star that's trying to.
He was the Dev Whore of the second half.
Maybe Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Jeudy did pretty good. Is Jeudy only a star?
Oh, Noah Fant's only a star too. So we can give it back to Noah Fant. Noah Fant award back to Noah Fant.
Noah Fant back to Noah Fant. But at least he's also spreading the love. Jeudy and Fant. If you got 2 guys in the top there, you can't really say someone's too much of a Dev Whore.
No, it's not. It's not even a bad thing. It's just
somebody
that's star that had a really good season.
Yep. Like you could even say that J.K. Dobbins could be the Dev Whore there, even though because he got 310 attempts, right? Which
the Dev Whore that can't dev.
I know, poor Dobbins. Which is why anyone saying what Maloney only lost out on devs when he should have been kicked or something because he quit a game, but I think that's a good punishment. So, but we'll talk about that.
The other things I had wrote down here that most interesting division, which I already kind of talked about the AFC West, just because we had 3 years and 3 division winners.
Yep.
I don't know if there's any division more interesting than that.
Well, I
NFC
think
East is always fun.
NFC West is going to be an interesting one.
NFC West is going to be
yeah,
for sure.
It wasn't even this year. It started being that way.
Yeah,
but I think that one's going to be crazy. And my division was crazy for this first half of the year because we were, like I said before, with the Rocket playing well, we were all neck and neck for a while.
Yeah, your division's fun. And the other thing I put on here is best rivalry. What is the best rivalry we have? Other than me and you, of course.
Well, yeah.
I don't think the NFC. I guess it's kind of like a 3-man rivalry.
You could say Soup and Brock, just because that kind of.
That has been. That's what I was going to say, and then MHC would get mad though he's not included.
Well, he should. MHC got the nice easy division, so he.
Sure.
He wants.
It's especially easy when he gets force wins over his toughest player in the division.
I know exactly. That might have been the rivalry. That could have been the start of the great rivalry.
I know, because
Packers and the Lions.
I'm pretty sure Lions beat him at some point.
That would have been great. Yep.
Yeah. That's the best one on the NFC, I think, right now.
I think so. Yeah,
Brock and Oop. AFC is just a gauntlet. Everybody's a rival, it seems like.
I know.
Oh, I mean, me and Pax playing twice a year. That's
that's starting to be a rivalry, you and Pax, I guess, just because it's the two of you are always fighting for the division. You swap back and forth. I don't know if you'll ever win it again, but
yeah. I think I had my one swap.
Now that Pax has figured out some stuff, I have a feeling that you're probably not going to be seeing that division for a while. So
probably
we'll see.
All right, so let's talk about. That's it. That's all I had written down. How much? We're at 40 minutes here. Let's talk about. All right, let's go through the questions here.
Yeah, let's
I sent out the little questionnaire thing
before we get on the heavy stuff.
I think it's going to take us right into the heavy stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll start with the fun one here. All right, take 3. First, internet dropped, then I accidentally streamed. Here I am. All right, so we're going to go over some questions here. We'll start with a Joe Daddy question. Thoughts on how the Brock Bros are the best thing to happen to the league since press bell cheese and gap shooting?
Well, I'm going to say that the Brock Bros are definitely better for the league than either of those 2 other things. A little bit better.
Slightly.
No, I love the Brock Bros. Like Brock is one of the good guys. I love playing the Super Bowl against him. It was a nice close game until he decided that he had enough and just destroyed me.
Yeah, he was tired of playing with his prey.
Yeah, but no, I like all the guys. Like there was a few growing pains with some of these guys when they first came in because AGS is a very mature league. But I love these guys and what they bring to the league. They're a very good thing to have. So, and I think we have a good amount of them.
We do.
They're a nice click. We're not overwhelmed by Brock Bros.
There's just about just the right amount. Yeah, because Brock put in the chat earlier today, and I commented on it that I think it was true. He put that most of the league doesn't like the Brock Bros or him. I can't remember if it was about him. I think it was about the whole Brock Bros. But I don't think that's true at all. I don't even think anybody even acts like they don't like that. I think the Brock Bros are very well received.
Yeah, I think so too.
And so Joe Daddy sent that question, and Joe Daddy was in the league last Madden, and he ended up leaving for whatever reason, I can't remember. But he didn't really come out of his shell like he's coming out of his shell now.
Yeah.
Like they work together. They work better as a group.
Yeah, they work together as a group. That's why I changed the fire to red, because the Brock Bros are hot right now.
Red hot.
So hot. They're so hot right now.
Oh, I thought that was my internet that was on fire back there. All right, so personal thoughts on the Tress Way game.
Personal thoughts on the
Dive into it.
Game. Dive into it. Wow. There's so many aspects to this, which is just really, it's crazy. I mean, from the beginning, like honestly, I think that if you have made that poor decision not to have a backup quarterback, that because you're on a cooldown, that you should at least have the option. I'd honestly, if Sidex had the option to bring in his cooldown player and then just basically say, okay, because I brought him a cooldown player for week 18, he didn't get the cooldown, that he'll have to be cooldown for the playoffs and he's out of dev contention. To me, that seems like a reasonable thing to do, because I think if somebody got a cooldown in week 18, that would probably be how they would get their cooldown. So I think that might have been, well, something to discuss going forward, if that should be an option.
Or just make them pick up a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
You have a suspension or a cooldown.
Yeah.
Especially a quarterback.
18. Yeah, a quarterback.
You have to carry 2 quarterbacks into that game.
Yeah. So, but the game itself, like, and honestly, like, if Sidex had that option, I don't know if he would have even like had the option to put in his starter for the rest of the game. I don't know if he would have necessarily done it, just because I think he probably almost would rather have the dev, because I don't know if Watson's superstar yet.
Watson is superstar, but he's not X Factor, which is the most important thing.
Yeah. So I think he might have kept him out just for that reason, even if it meant not making the playoffs. But I mean, hey, he played his punter and he won. So obviously he made the right decision. I honestly, what do you think about the whole the gameplay? Because I know we did a nice little deep dive as admins to review this fully as we need to.
So, okay, so first off, rage quitting can't happen. Yeah, can't happen. Now, Maloney has been around for a long time. He has never had something like this happen ever. And I think you can understand where he was frustrated. Now, obviously, I'm still not condoning the rage quit. Can't happen. But he's trying to get into the playoffs. He has to win that game. He's facing a team that's already down their starting quarterback. Then they're down to their punter. Then the entire league is memeing every time he completes a bubble screen.
Yeah.
The whole Discord's going crazy. You can see where that would frustrate somebody and cause them to tilt to crazy whatever. But in the fourth quarter of that game, it was insane, the stuff that Maloney was doing. I will say that.
Yeah.
But I think the punishment, it's fair, because Dobbins is he's in a situation where he's guaranteed a really good shot at superstar. He's not gonna get it now.
Yep.
He had, who was the other player? He had somebody else up for it. Anyways, so they're not gonna have a chance. So I think the punishment is good, because most, like, if you're not gonna make the playoffs, what do you want out of the season? You want to dev somebody.
Yeah.
He's not gonna get that now. And obviously, if anything like that ever happens again with him, he'd be out, and he knows that.
Yeah, I think what you need to do there is just pause the game a lot earlier.
The game should have been paused in like the third quarter.
Yeah, if that was a problem.
And I will say, Synax, after we reviewed the game, Synax did throw like over half of his plays were RPOs. Yeah. Which, again, you got to switch up your play calling. So.
Yeah, even if it's just a quick little slat. And to be fair, like, if it's a punter in the game, a punter doesn't really necessarily know how to throw the ball. So, I mean, either have to run the ball a ton, or just come up with some.
And he didn't actually call run plays. They were all read options or RPOs.
Yeah,
there was like 5 run plays. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that being, it would have been really tough for Maloney, because like you basically, if you lose that game, you're a meme, like you're saying, like, because there's no legitimate reason that somebody should lose a game to a punter who can't throw the ball 10 yards, because and so that puts a lot of tilting stress on you, especially when you're down early to get there. And that was honestly the trouble. Sidex played really, really, really good defense, and so the first few issues that he had, like, he just never gave up the lead, and that puts a ton of stress on Maloney to make that comeback. And then when you see that kind of stuff, RPO after RPO after RPO, when you either have to guess the middle on a run, or you manually cover the bubble screen, and if you guess wrong, you lose 5 yards. So
yeah, but
it's tough.
Obviously, the rage quitting is terrible, and if it happens to a lot of folks, they do probably not get the benefit of the doubt. But Maloney's been around for a while, and it took an absolute perfect freaking storm of events to put him in that situation.
Yeah,
you got a quarterback on a cooldown. You got the quarterback getting hurt, which never happens in this league. Quarterbacks never get hurt. So you got a punter coming in, you got RPOs like crazy, and some stupid animations. If you saw, I don't know if you watched the game, there was some crazy animations at the line of scrimmage with like Curtis Samuel where he would get hit and just spin off of a guy and take off for a touchdown. Like, it was just the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, even those bubble screens he was throwing, like he'd throw them, and then the receiver would be like right next to a defender, and just bounce off everybody and get another 10 yards out of it. So it was just like,
hopefully we can just move past that terrible event and never happen again.
Yeah, but that being said, like, that doesn't mean that a rage quit, the punishment is now only losing depth for the season. This was a very unique situation where Maloney has a lot of seniority in the league, and he'd never had any real issues before. And he was very contrite afterwards, realizing that he'd been a dum-dum. So, yeah. If German rage quit tomorrow, he'd be gone.
Keep that in mind. That could be my way out, finally.
Finally get out.
Finally. This is
it. Your internet will go down again, and everyone
at the perfect time with like 7 seconds left.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say anything bad about, so Sinex did throw all those RPOs or whatever. I'm not dogging him.
No.
Because if you're forced to play a punter, the only pass plays that are going to work are those RPOs. However, he did throw 3 regular passes. Because I watched the game back. He threw 3 regular passes, and Tress Way was 3 for 3 on those 3 passes with one of them being a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were all like off, but it was just stupid animations where the receiver caught the pass.
Yeah. That's why I'm not dogging Sinex on this one either, because that's just a situation that you're not prepared for. Like, who thinks they're going to be going into a game throwing with a punter?
That's why I don't want to lose a good coach.
Yeah. No.
A good member of the league, the community, not even the league, just the community. I don't want to lose somebody over just a stupid anomaly of a game.
Yeah, it was a horrible anomaly. Like I have never seen a game where a handoff can't be completed and becomes a fumble like multiple times, like because the punter apparently doesn't know how to hand off the ball.
The thing is, I think on all those, they were all read options. I don't know why, and I need to ask him why did because you're not going to keep it with a punter. Why were you calling read options? He called over 10 read options. Why wouldn't you just call it a handoff?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because those are the ones who were fumbling on. But again, anomaly of a game.
Anomaly of the game. It's over. Thank goodness. We won't have to deal with it ever again, hopefully. But
yeah.
All
right. So we had a few different questions on the other hot topic of late. This one was asked the best, I believe. So, do you two feel that press bell greatly devalues the corner position? The coaches who use it are getting elite tier production from lower overall high speed players. So I think that's the best way to ask the question. That's a great
way to frame that question.
Yeah.
So whoever did that was great. I think I have a suspicion on who it was, but well, I mean, maybe you should go first, because I think well, my feelings about press bail are fairly well known.
Yours is very well documented. So here's the thing, and I honestly see, and everybody was like, everybody should know this. Everybody should know this. I didn't know this, so I knew it used to be a feature that you could do it, but what I used to do didn't work this year or even last Madden, I think. So I just stopped trying to do it. I did not know that if you manually pressed and then did the overtop coverage, I did not know that it was a press bell. So that's coming from me, who has never lost more than 5 games in a season ever. So
and keep in mind that, like, as Afeto has said, that there is a secondary way of doing it aside from
the show blitz thing.
Yeah, all you do is show blitz, because then you're still up in that same position.
And see, I've tried to do the show blitz a few times, and I always end up in a wonky position. Like, I don't know, never works for me. And I never even do the show blitz thing. I think I tried to do it a couple times, but it never works for me. Anyways, but I think it's obvious that it hurts the position. And so Pax a few weeks ago put in the chat, cornerback position doesn't really matter, or it was overvalued, something like that. He put something there. And whenever I saw that, I was just like, wait, what? Because that's the position that I have tried my hardest
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 superstar corners last year, and the only reason I even got rid of 2 of them was because I drafted that stud in the first round, and because I had the Noah Igbo, whatever his name is.
Yep.
And he's now in a, like he's now good enough that he's my number 2 guy. So I've always greatly valued the corner position, and I feel like those adjustments make your corners better, so that you don't need a superstar corner. You don't need a 90 overall star. You don't need these guys.
Right.
So I do think it horribly devalues the position. Now, how OP is it? I mean, I don't know. I think it is. It definitely makes them better. Even on the like like the slants and underneath routes that are supposed to work against press bell, I've done them. They don't work every time because, like you've said, and this is your argument basically, they're closer to the receiver. So when they go to slant, the corner is in a better position right off the bat.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't love it.
No, I really don't love it. And I basically knew that this feature existed for probably a good season and a half to 2 seasons. Like I knew when Afeto had started doing it. And honestly, Afeto's I don't really give Afeto a lot of grief on that he uses it because he's got really good corners.
He does have good corners, and he always. I don't think he's hiding anything. I don't want them to think that we think they're hiding anything. Afeto has always been very open about showing us, like the cover 4 thing. Exactly. Always been an open book, so I don't think it's.
No,
I don't think it's they're hiding like this stuff that nobody knows how to do. So
no, to that point, I agree that Afeto, by using it, he has never thought that there was anything wrong with it, and you know, like just because we maybe think it is doesn't necessarily mean that there is either. But to the original question, yes, like it obviously greatly devalues the corner just because. And Afeto's argument was that he's got really good fast corners, so yeah, they may play a little better and play over top, but he's also got the speed that makes it realistic for the fact that he does it. And he has the clips to show like that fast corners can keep up over top. The thing I don't like about it is like what the question, whoever asked the question was, it greatly devalues because you can have like a 91 average speed, average corner that's going to be able to basically play like an elite corner. And I, like you, have always greatly valued corners. Like I would not trade Denzel Ward for any player in the league, even with the new press bail being a thing. I still wouldn't trade him because he just is so good that I can keep him there. And honestly, and same with Greg Newsome, I just didn't want to lose him because he's just a nice young fast corner that I love to use. And I to me the issue with press bail, and I said this before, is that everything you do in Madden, whether it's on offense or defense, if you're choosing a certain formation or adjustment, should have a weakness.
Yeah.
There should be a strength and there should be a weakness to everything that you do. If you're going to throw deep, or then you should like not necessarily be able to have every other thing available to you. And if you're playing defense, if you're playing man, you obviously shouldn't be able to shut down things that a zone can shut down. And that's the thing with press bail, is that there's really no weakness to calling it. It just makes everything better.
Right.
And because a corner will be able to play over top, they're going to play those slants and drags better than if they had been in their normal position. There's zero reason not to do it. And that should not be a thing in Madden, because every adjustment that you should have a weakness. If you change yourself to have your flats as 0, then you're going to be exposed 10 yards downfield instead, right? So an adjustment should always have a weakness and strength. And to me, that's why I can't bring myself to do press bail, just because it does seem like cheese, like pure defensive cheese, because in my opinion. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I'm not like saying people who do it like that I'm going to call that I think they're cheesy. I'm just saying to me, as a person who thinks that everything should have a strength and a weakness, doing something like that that has no weakness and makes corners vastly better than they should be, I just can't bring myself to do it. I've mentioned like in Madden 08 that there was the cover 2-man press was the same thing. There was no weakness to doing it because there was no route that actually would come into play because you'd called cover 2-man press, because you'd have your safeties over top to stop streaks, slants and drags and all those things. Even in press, the corner in that version of Madden had the ability to stay underneath or in front of the guy, even in press. So there was zero reason not to do it. And so people would call that 90% of the game because it was so overpowered.
Right. And so I don't want to say it's cheesy to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's cheesy if you manually press your corners most of the time you're in man, and you 100% of the time when you press them, you do the press bell, that's cheesy. You can't show press and not press every time you show press, if that makes sense. If you're going to show press all these times, at least some of them you have to actually press.
Yeah.
So if you're not mixing that up a little bit, then I think you're exploiting the feature.
Yeah.
So otherwise, what's the point of even worrying about what your press rating is on your corners or what the release is on the receiver if you're never actually going to press? If I manually I hit the triangle or whatever the heck it is on the Xbox, and I pull my corners down, and then I press bell every single time, I feel like that's an exploit. Now, if you do it once or twice, like you want to, if you're like throwing off the other team, like, hey, I've been pressing the whole game, I'm not gonna press this time. Like, that is perfectly fine, but I don't think you should do it every single time. And I don't even know if they are. I'm just saying that's where I think it's cheesy. I don't think it's cheesy to do it a few times. I think it's cheesy if you do it every time.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic way to look at it because it shows how you're actually using the feature. Like if you're actually using that feature to make somebody think that you're pressing some of the time,
Right.
And so that way you can press later, and they're going to have to think, is this a press or is it not?
Right.
And they're not going to know. But if the only reason you do it is because Madden is going to make your players vastly better when you do that, then that's not the purpose of doing it. Like,
yeah,
it's not really press bail. You're just doing it so that you're taking advantage of an exploit, like you were saying.
And for example, now the game was over and I was tilted at this point, and it was a fourth down play anyways, so I had to throw the ball. But there was a play where I think you were 2-man over or whatever, and you were pressing the corner or my receivers.
Yep.
It was not a press bell. I had the outside receiver, and he had that instant release where he got by. So I immediately throw the pass because I saw him beat the corner. However, I did not see Gom free safety usering. You came over and picked it off. I had to throw it. So I feel like that is completely realistic. And then maybe later on in the game, I would see that same look and see you maybe using somebody on the other side, and then you press bell. So like that's where like it becomes a chess match instead of just doing it every single time you press and then press bell.
And that's very good. That's exactly what I was saying. Like to me, the only cheesy aspect of it is if you're doing it as an exploit.
Yeah, if you're doing it every time.
If you're saying, "Oh, this is something new to the defense that is going to," it's the same reason that we had issues with certain people in the past that would come up with exploits. Like we talked about the whole. We can talk about gap shooting later if we want, but we had other things like nano blitzes and whatnot. These things we had to get rid of and ban because they were pure exploits that shouldn't happen. And this one obviously isn't to the extreme of a nano blitz.
It's definitely it's not to the extreme of that.
Not at all. But it's something that if someone's doing it a lot, like regularly,
it shouldn't happen every time.
No, it shouldn't happen anytime. Like, and that doesn't necessarily mean that someone can say, "Well, I've ran 2 over top and Oh god, you crashed again, didn't you?
I'm still here. You were starting to. I was starting to lose you. Like you're froze on mine. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, you're back. You're alive.
What is
I was
going
about
on
to.
with my internet
I was
tonight?
about to message you saying, so you're gonna have to message your internet company again.
God,
Uh,
what the hell's going
no.
on?
Yeah.
Anyways, finish
No, I
that
was
thought
just
because you kind of went away a little bit there.
okay.
It's still
Yeah, I'll finish
recording.
that thought. Yeah, so it just means basically if just someone actually happened to run a couple times, like a handful of times a game where they ran press in reality, but they had two safeties over top. I don't know if you can really claim that you're necessarily not doing it for an exploit because you ran a couple presses that are extremely safe and have zero risk
Mm-hmm.
because you got guys over top. So, but I mean, people know the reason that they're doing it. Like I would love, and I said that when I talked with the Fed when we were talking about it before, that I think if someone is using it for the purpose of of being able to run press and confusing someone into not knowing whether it's press or not, that's what the play is designed for.
Right.
It's called, like fake blitz or that's the whole reason you're up there, is so that the quarterback is going to think that it is a press,
Right.
and sometimes it has to be press
Because you're like, oh, sweet, I can take advantage of this press and then never take advantage of it because it's always a press battle.
Yeah, because and that's the other reason. Like if people are doing too much press battle using it as an exploit, then we're just going to see even more slot streak issues because it doesn't. Those press bails are purely an outside, or not purely, but mainly an outside down the sideline issue. Like you could still do your press bails in the middle, but the slots are not nearly as the AI works a little bit differently. You'll still get a lot of stuff through there. And I think we see too many people or the slot is just too overpowered right now as far as that goes. To me, like that's why you see many people with their best receiver in the slot.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but I swear to God, I've only hit like 2 or 3 slot streaks with Waddle ever in 3 seasons. I hit one a few weeks ago. I think it was against Smithy. Might have been the last game. I can't remember.
I rarely get them either.
Like, I was I never get them. Like you always say how good they are, but I'm like I never get them.
Yeah, but you and I are kind of outliers in that because we run a lot of 2 wide receivers. That's at least I think you do, that you run quite a bit. Like a lot of people out there, they're running 3 wide receivers for probably 80 to 90% of the game.
Yeah, it depends on who I'm playing because
and when you're running 3 wide receivers for that much of the game, and then you see a formation that the slot streak must be open. Think hot route goes on. It's available. Whereas if you're running 2 wide receiver sets like me, like I'm the same. Like I'll get maybe like 1 slot streak every 4 or 5 games just because it's not generally part of my game plan. But I mean, there's no doubt that the mechanics work a lot different in the slot because I mean, half the time you're lined up with a linebacker. You never know what's going to happen when especially when those trips set, right? So,
all right, that's enough.
Yeah,
that's enough.
But no, I think we made some really good points on that, and hopefully it.
Yeah, and I'm not
got everybody on thinking about it because I mean I'm not anti-press battle by any means. I fully agree with you that people are.
I tried it the other day.
Yeah, if people are doing it in a sim way, then it's a good part of the game.
Right. All right, last question. Are there any teams that you hope to see make a specific move in the offseason for? For example, last offseason, Packers acquired Cooper, and we saw how dominant their offense became. I think one that comes to mind, it's really only because I saw him in chat and then I started thinking about it. Jake put that he was willing to trade whatever he had to for a quarterback because I think he's playing with Jacob Eason right now. So I think that's going to be the one to watch is him if he gets a good like veteran quarterback like you did with Carr.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. The rookies aren't really that great. So especially at this point with only 2 seasons left, I wouldn't recommend going rookie unless it's just a god at the top of the draft. And I haven't even looked at the draft. That's my draft strategy every year. Don't look at it until it's the draft night. But yeah, I think if he gets a veteran quarterback, I think that's the one that sticks out to me. Anything stick out to you on this question you've been prepared for 20 seconds?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I forgot
I
Twitch
would
was.
like to see. Well, I don't know. I kind of want to see Leak. We rarely get to talk about Leak because he has
You
some.
want to see Leak make a trade?
I would like to see Leak get a good quarterback, just because.
Well,
And I
who's
mean,
his current quarterback? He's had so many this.
I think I can't even remember. Like it was Kellen
No,
Mond.
he's got a good one now.
Does he now?
Doesn't he have like Stafford or somebody?
Uh, maybe.
No, he has Herbert. Yeah, he got Herbert in that trade.
Oh, he
He had
does.
Stafford.
Okay, then he did what he needed
Yeah,
to.
so he already did what he needed to do.
So I'm looking forward to seeing him with Herbert next year. Now he's got the whole year to
He
play with
has
it.
he's gotten better. He's gotten old. So he went through a drought there. The
Yeah,
middle of the season, we had Leak who was I like the Leak that gets pissed off at me whenever I make him a 10-point underdog instead of a 7-point underdog. Like that's the Leak that I like.
yeah.
Then he turned into Leak where he was oh that spread's not high enough. I'm gonna lose by 20. I don't like that Leak.
No,
I like the confident Leak.
yeah, the confident league.
But
You know
he has
what?
played better the last few weeks though.
He has. I think the move I want to see happen, and there's multiple reasons for this, is I want to see Tyrant do the big Lamar trade
Can
for
he? Didn't he just
for
sign him?
I know he probably can't do it, but I would love to
That's what
see
you like
it.
to see.
Just a complete overhaul, like when MHC traded Lamar and just got like his god team as a result. Like, it obviously wouldn't necessarily do that great because I can do pretty well to contain Lamar, so it wouldn't help me in my
Yeah, he
division.
can't. His signing bonus is $101 million.
It helps to get all to play him enough
That
times,
was bad.
but I would just love to see, because Tyrant like has improved so much, like that. This, he made the FCC against me last year. He's had a few struggles this year, and honestly, I think that if he was able to do a trade like MHC did, that it would put him over the top. Like again, this doesn't help me in any way because it makes him,
Yeah,
in theory, more powerful enough to win
yeah.
to get the Super Bowl. But I think that if he was able, he could do that right now if Lamar, if it was possible with the contract, that it would probably push him into the Super Bowl. I mean, he made it to the AFCC with Lamar last year, so he's probably already there. But I think that he's had some issues this year with a few of the teams that if he did that massive trade, and he would be able to get the same haul that MHC did, I'm sure, from somebody. So I would love to see that.
Another one that I think we're going to see is so Maloney is done with Trey Lance. Like he binges him for Ian Book.
So he's going
Trey Lance is going to be traded
to Miami.
No,
Not for Baker. That would seem like it would make a whole lot of sense based on what we were talking about.
I would do it in a heartbeat, but I can see him trading Lance, and Brock keeps talking about it. He keeps saying trading me, because Brock wants a real player, not a generated player as quarterback.
Right.
So I could see them doing a swap, and the 49ers are re-signing both of their superstar corners. The Saints have 2 stud superstar safeties. Trade one of those safeties and the quarterback to Maloney for Lance, and then he would have 3 superstars in his defensive backfield. I just put that together.
Yeah, that could happen.
It could be a nice deal for both of them.
I mean, Andre Cisco might still end up moving this offseason.
Here we go with you and Cisco.
It might happen. It would.
He's already superstar, right?
He is already superstar. Yeah. His second
the
ability
camp is back.
His second ability is right about to unlock. So we'll see what happens there. But it definitely was something that I was going to do during the season. Didn't end up happening because I was out of trades. But it might still happen this offseason. We'll see.
All right.
So, woo.
All right. Look at the playoff picture. So, playoffs are basically set, but we thought we were going to have the answer of who's the 7th seed in the NFC tonight. But
well, we still could. I could just click right now, but I think we're going to let
Yeah,
The
we better
the
let
Reds make the decision
yeah
if they
they can
want
figure
to.
that out in the morning.
Yeah.
Because nobody's gonna play tonight or in the morning anyways.
But let's just assume for right now that we'll just do scenarios if dog is that seed or if try is that seed.
So let me ask you right off the bat here. If you had to spend 50 of your own dollars, so 50 of those Canadian bucks.
Whew, like $20 American. Actually, our dollar's going pretty good because Canadian dollar goes up with gas prices, and I think we all know where gas prices are right
Yeah,
now.
that's true. You had to take Jets, Packs, or the field? Where would you spend that 50?
Packs or the field?
Yep.
I'd probably do the field.
What about Packs and a Fetto or the field?
Then Pax and a Fetto. I honestly don't think any of us have a chance. Well, I'm not going to say a chance, but a good chance. A betting man would have to take Pax or Fetto.
Packs had basically, I think, two close games this year: Tyrant and Sonics.
Yeah.
I think he should have lost both. I'm trying to remember. I think Tyrant had him beat and blew it. I might be remembering wrong. I know Sonics was up big and blew it. Fell apart. I think in the second half, I saw Sonics' second half passing stats, and they were not great.
Well,
After
the other
he lit
thing,
him up in the first half.
yeah, I mean, and you know, you saw the stat. Like I showed how good those two guys' defense was. Like they only gave up 250 yards on in or sorry 250 points, I believe, through the whole
Yeah.
season, which was like 12 or 13 points per game against, which is just, I mean, yeah, these are the two guys that were doing the press bails, but they're also really good coaches. So I mean,
Yeah, I don't want to get it twisted. The thing how
no,
awesome
not at
coaches as it
all.
is.
Like these guys are like they didn't start becoming good all of a sudden because they started using press bails. It's helped their defense, obviously, but they've been the elite players as they are the elite players. So, and they're both playing really well. And Afeto is like with the double stuff and with his great corners, and he's just so smart. Pax obviously has the god O line that he can just run behind at will. And then when you have Wilson and those two receivers, it's just like it's just so strong that I mean, and I think everyone knows that Pax would have made this. He would have beat me last year if I hadn't injured Zach Wilson. I mean,
Probably, but that's part of the game.
it's
Any
part of the
given
game.
Sunday.
Part of the game, but I wouldn't.
It's part of the
count
game
on
I
a
wish
Zach-
there was more of. Quarterback get hurt.
I know.
Never happens.
I wish we had more quarterbacks getting hurt just to make that backup a little bit more important. But I don't think we're going to see another quarterback injury. And he's got one less game that he has to worry about that since he's got the bye this year. So, What about you? Do you have any confidence in the field outside of? Would you bet on Pax over the field?
Just to put more pressure on him so he folds. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
No, look,
you would sell your house to put money on Pax.
He beat the piss out of me twice this season.
Yep.
And now he will say Baker Mayfield was terrible in those games, and I don't understand it. He was terrible in both of those games, and it happens early. So like when you play somebody that's really good, and you have that bad luck happen early, and then it just snowballs. Like it does suck, but I mean he beat me. Like he beat me very badly. But yeah, I don't have much confidence in myself against Pax this season.
Yeah.
Afeto I was able to beat, but that was early in the season. That was before I really I started slumping a little bit after that. But yeah, I'd put my money on Pax this season.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
So let's look at the matchups here real quick for the wild card round. And I didn't have any cool graphic because the league hasn't advanced yet, so it's just my handwriting on my iPad. So Colts Ravens, and this is barring any. I don't think Madden's gonna screw up any of these matchups. I think this is what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So we got Colts and Ravens. This is the only AFC matchup that doesn't include us. So what do you think's gonna go on in that matchup?
Well, that's a real who beat Affetto last year?
Who
Do you
hasn't beat a
remember?
Fedo in the
No,
playoffs?
in the playoffs. Because remember he lost in the playoffs. I'm just trying to remember who he lost to. Was it Tyrant that beat him?
Well, I know it was Skittles the first season. I think it was Tyrant the second season.
Because yeah,
Let me dig into it here.
yeah, because I almost feel like it was because like in the wild card round, I don't even remember who I faced right off the bat.
Yeah, Tyrant beat him 29-9 in the wild card.
Yeah. So this is and it's the same thing. Like you got I think Tyrant's team matches up really well against
It
Affetto
does.
because what Affetto's team is built to do is, stop somebody who's got a strong run game, a power running game, and someone who's throwing who has dominant receivers to throw to. And Lamar is like a factor that can just get around that defense, which he
And
obviously
Tyrant beat
did.
him this season.
Yeah, so there you go. So Fetto like got probably wishing that that Tyrant had actually
It's so funny how
lost
matchups
or beat
happen, man.
MHC. And
Matchups matter.
yeah, so and we're not going to say that MHC and Tyrant like decided, you know what, I want to play a Fetto MHC, so you bench your starters and I'll give you the wins. We're not going to say that happened. They were on voice together, and it's all on record. So if you want, go look at that game and see what happened. So. But yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, I mean, I still you got to put your money on Affetto, but I think that's probably the matchup that Affetto absolutely didn't want of the entire AFC was to have Tyrant.
Yep, and how? So like our games, I'm not going to make a prediction on my own game. I'm not going to expect
No,
you to make a prediction. So I'll have you. Like I said, what's your thoughts on my game?
so it's you and Johnny.
Nope.
No, Johnny. All right, VBank.
V Bank.
It's so
V
funny
Bank.
because he's not even in like the playoff picture at the beginning of this
He
of the
stole
week.
it.
Like he wasn't in anywhere. He wasn't even like seventh seed.
Well,
Like you look at the picture right
it was a
now.
division or go home for both of
Yeah,
them.
he's not there anywhere, and so he's suddenly bam right in there. So that'll be an interesting game. Because I have not seen him do very like often, like even in that game that he won, like he played Johnny, right? And I don't think Mahomes even threw for 100 yards.
No,
That was a
he
purely
is all defense.
defense, and he wasn't even just like going crazy with Chubb
The
either
over
because his
under on this
backup,
game is like 42.
yeah, his backup Chuba Hubbard, I think got more yards than Chubb did that game
Yeah,
because Hubbard's his
right.
shotgun back, so Hubbard got a ton of work, and he just played it really well. But again, he comes from the Guitar Hero school where he does a lot of hit sticks. I think you could very well take advantage of that because I know that you know how to avoid those having had to play so many people that have used it. So I mean, you'll probably be the favorite on it. But you never know with VBank. I mean, because he's just gonna. You probably never played him before, have you?
Yeah, I played him earlier
Oh,
in the
did you play him
season. That
once?
was
Okay.
the. It was. I think it was right after his vacation or something like that. But I beat him
Yeah.
21-0. But my offense couldn't do anything, and obviously neither could hit.
Yeah. So it'll definitely
It's
be
gonna be a low
probably
scoring game.
it'll be the lowest scoring game I think of the AFC's teams. What do
Of
you
all the
think
games.
about what do you yeah, well, what do you think about my game with Grilla? Because Gomrilla has had a few matchups in the past.
I feel like you usually get those, right? Like you're probably about 60% at least in those.
Probably. Honestly, it was funny because a couple of seasons ago, I don't think we had even played yet. Like we just
Yeah.
for some reason never ended up in the same conference, and we would never play each other. And then we finally played, and it was like, oh my goodness, we
That's
played.
how I
Like
was with
we were doing
MHC.
Gomrilla before we ever played a game. I'm pretty sure.
Like I've always been in opposite conferences of MHC,
Yeah.
except for last Madden. I think we ended up in the same one. Yeah, we ended up in the same one. I
Yeah.
bet. So we've done 22 seasons. I bet I've played MHC 10 to 12 times.
Yeah.
It's crazy how little times I've played him.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Whereas you and I have played like 50 times.
yeah, we've played a ton
Basically.
of times. And now PAX is where I've been with him for a while. Those are adding up quick. Let's see. Browns, Jags. I just feel like you know his strength, and you have more in your arsenal than he does on offense. And I feel like you'll be able to slow down Godwin and make somebody else beat you. I'm not sure he has those guys, so I would go with you. If I were to put a spread on it, which is my thing, by the way.
Yeah.
I'd probably make you like 11.5 point favorite.
Okay, I was going to say 6.5. But...
No, it's got to be over a touchdown.
Eh.
But, I mean, and he could easily win. I don't want him thinking I'm just shitting on him because he's made it to the playoffs. I know he knows how to beat you. I feel like of all of us, I don't think he wanted to play you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just think it's a bad matchup for him. I think he would have been happy with any of the other people in the AFC wildcard. Maybe not me because he's had bad luck against me, but as far as like teams go, because he says he matches up good with the Feddo. Nobody matches up good with the Feddo.
Yeah,
except Tyron. I feel like that's a worse matchup for him.
It is so funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
NFC. Let's ignore that one for now. Let's look at football team and Giants.
Football team and Giants. That
like they can't get enough of each other. I think it's locked in. Yep. I mean, if they go by the tiebreakers, they should. And we could be completely wrong, and if we are, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, but
it is what it is.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say that Pink finally gets over his hump because he's played such a good season. But Pink is like one of those bipolar guys that you just don't know. Like
he's a Maloney.
Like he can just completely dominate if he gets in a groove, he's unstoppable. Right? Like if he's in a groove and he's just bleep, 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 that's why
I couldn't stop him when he had 2 major injuries.
Yeah, exactly. Like he just gets in one of those grooves and he's on fire. And Synax is going to have to not use a punter, and I don't know if if Synax is prepared for that.
So they played week 5 and week 8. In week 5, Synax won 42-35, and week 8, Synax won 41-38.
Yeah, so
basically the same game, lots of offense.
Yeah, and that's the NFC for you. So we'll see. I don't know. I think Pink finally has a good shot at it. Oh, actually, I don't know. Now that I think about it, what is the injury status of
Barkley?
Barkley and he had 2 injuries.
Barkley came back last week. Yeah. Yeah, because remember he came back for the week 18, and that's where everybody was talking about the cool down, which he was injured. That's why he cooled down.
I thought he had 2 injuries though, wasn't it? Barkley.
He did have 2 injuries. The other one was his receiver, but I didn't think that was a permanent thing. I can't remember.
If he's fully healthy, I'm going to take Pink.
Yeah, I'm going to take Synax just because those are the type of games that Synax likes. He doesn't want to play the guys that play defense.
I know.
He wants he usually wins the shootouts.
Yeah.
Now all these are division games.
Such good.
Seahawks Rams. This is a good. Now did the Rams finish it on him? I know he was up a lot. And then Soup came back. Let me see here. Oh no, Rams did smash Soup. 45-21, week 14. And the other game, I don't think Soup was here for. I mean, I don't think Jake was here.
Well,
that's
you know what? My heart makes me want to say that Jake, but I think that Soup is going to make an adjustment in this game that will allow his defense to play just well enough to win. Yeah. And I think that he's going to win this one just by a touchdown.
I agree. I think he learned from the beatdown. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Whoever gets more hit stick fumbles.
Yeah.
And then we got the Saints, and he will face either the Bucks or the Lions. So, do you think either the Bucks or the Lions have a shot, basically?
Well, I mean, there's always a chance.
Well,
it's basically, if you've seen Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
1 in a million.
Well, last time he played the Lions, he scored 63 on him.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the Brock Bros are not allowed to be Brock. That's
he beat
the first rule of Brock Bro membership. You're not allowed to beat Brock.
Right, exactly. That's why they're not called the Joe Daddy Bros.
No. If you beat Brock, you're not a Brock Bro anymore.
I don't think he's ever lost a dog either. So I think either way,
yeah, I think
whoever wins this sim tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a lot of waiting just to see somebody get
crushed,
demolished by Brock. So.
By the champ.
But you never know. Surprise us, guys! Surprise us. We'd love it.
So if you win and a Feto wins, so that means you would face a Feto second round.
I know. Blah.
So if I were to win, I'm likely getting packs unless there's an upset. So if Ravens win or Jags win, they would get back.
Yeah, the best part about this is knowing that I cannot face packs until at least the third round.
Yeah,
like it's not possible. I mean, in a perfect world, Tyrant beats a Feto again because we already said a Feto that you had no chance to get past the first round. We did say that. If he beats a Feto again, then I can't meet up with packs until the conference championship, which gives it much more time to get deeper in the season and much more snow to be on the ground for a fact to face Zach Wilson, because that's where Zach Wilson has his problems.
Yeah,
and breaks his legs.
and then in the NFC, so MHC, if it's chalk and the Saints and Seahawks both win, then MHC is going to he could get Synax, and MHC Synax games are always fun.
Yeah, well, we'll see if Synax has learned from the Super Bowl. We'll see. But yeah, and it would be interesting to see. Honestly, I would be much more enthused to see a Pink MHC game, because I think Pink plays the type of game that drives MHC crazy.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Like even more than Synax, I think that Pink would just like drive MHC crazy.
Look, I had to play Pink for 7 quarters. Right? So
yeah,
he drove me crazy. It's like Synax on steroids.
Yeah. Assuming that that top 3 seeds all get it, then
they did play week 1.
Yeah.
MHC beat Pink 42-23 all the way back in week 1. I don't think he had a tough game after that.
No, I know. And but it's interesting because I remember when we did our OG last time, we said basically MHC had pretty much a cakewalk all the way to the conference championship. But I think having to play either Synax or Pink would present a challenge.
Oh yeah,
if that ends up happening, for sure.
Yep. All right. Well, all right, in our Super Bowl, both packs.
Yeah, I think so.
And in the NFC, who's coming out of the NFC? You got Brock again. You got MHC. We going Soup. Going Pink.
I gotta go with. Oh man, can we really call it a Pax Brock Super Bowl?
I mean, that's the way it's heading. Whatever we call it, that's where it's heading.
Well, wait. Okay, so
but again, all it takes is, I mean, like last year, nobody would have picked, and it's not hating on you or Tyrant, but nobody would have picked that.
No, nobody would pick. I'm gonna go Pax Brock, and because I am the Super Bowl cursor, that means neither of those guys should end up in the Super Bowl.
I like it.
What about you?
And plus, we've also done the reverse jinx for a Feto by saying he's gonna. Remember when we cursed him earlier in the?
It's true. That's true.
Or our last show, I believe.
Yeah, can't curse.
Looking at the few entries we got, or the questions we got on the thing, I also put the Super Bowl prediction on there, and we have a Saints. We have a Brock, a Pax, and an Feto. That was our 5 entries we got.
Yeah, so nobody going out on any limbs here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit off. I'll go Pax Soup. I think Soup's been on a little roll here of late. I think he'll sneak in.
Yeah. Hey, he's the reigning champ, Like, so I mean, I think not second reigning champ. He won before.
He won at the end of the last match.
Yeah, he was. So he'd be our next 2-time winner.
Yeah, but I mean, he would having to go through
Wow.
Brock and then MHC is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
That's like the AFC every week.
I know. It's true.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Just
I think we've covered everything.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. I know that there's a few people who got a few forced losses that might actually whittle down our dev pool a little bit, because if you remember, if you get too many forced losses, you don't qualify for devs. So we'll be seeing what our devs are going to be like, and I'm sure that'll be a nice little discussion for our next podcast on who either qualified for or won the devs, depending on the timing of when we do the reveals, because it still might be some time because we have to tabulate a few things manually.
Yep.
But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how many Dolphins dev.
I'm not even sure. I'll have a chance at a couple in defense. At corner and at safety, I'll have a chance. Yeah, I don't think Jabril Cox will be in the running. He might be. I don't think he.
Yeah.
Oh, and Wosu, man, who knows? I got three or four guys that might have a shot at me. If I get one, I'll be happy. Yeah, especially at safety or corner. Those are the big ones.
Yep.
Those are the ones that everybody.
I want to see Anthony Schwartz get superstar, get deep out elite or whatever it is.
It would be funny if he got it when he has like 500 yards less than what he usually gets.
I know. But I want to see him get it, if for no other reason than to see if, with him having deep out elite, if he can actually get past an average corner in press bail. With deep out elite.
We got to go back to press bail in the show.
I just want to see it, just for the record.
You gonna talk about Tress Way again?
Yeah. Good old Tress Way. I don't know. We should we should definitely move Tress Way up to superstar.
Yeah. Okay, so what happens here? This is what we need to do. Let's put Tress Way at corner in press bell. See what happens.
Nice. That's a great idea.
see who wins. All right, I'm done. You done?
I'm done.
All right.
Good game.
GG. This was not an early GG. This was a perfectly timed GG.
Perfectly timed.
All right. Hope you guys enjoy, and we'll be back probably after the off season.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
See you.